truck is going to be in my pocket. As I approach the front of the truck, I'm going to look underneath, make sure that there's no puddles or signs of leaks. I'm also going to check to make sure that the truck is not leaning. Leaning could be a flat tire, broken shock absorber, broken leaf spring. Okay, as I approach the truck, I'm going to identify my 3 ID lights, my clearance lights, my headlight assembly, turn signal, 4-way flasher, marker light, reflector, low beam, and high beam are all properly mounted and secured, clean, clear, proper color, and not broken. I'm gonna come around here to the passenger side. This is like DMV does it, so we're gonna do it that way. The exhaust is properly mounted and secured. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. No illegal welds. No soot trails. Okay, it's also exhaust leaks. No soot trails. We come up here to the side of the truck. My turn signal, 4-way flasher, marker light, clean, clear, proper color, not broken. My hood mirror is properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. No illegal stickers, not cracked or broken, and it's clean and free of obstruction. Open my hood. My washer fluid reservoir filled completely, not cracked or broken, properly mounted and secured, and the cap is on tight. My alternator, belt driven, properly mounted and secured, no missing any hardware. The wires are properly mounted, they're not worn or frayed. The belt, not worn or frayed, properly mounted, no more than 3/4 of an inch of play or it will put my truck out of service. Both belts. My radiator hoses, coolant hoses, properly mounted at both ends. No cuts, no bulges, no leaks. And we walk around the other side of the truck. Everyone here? Okay. Coolant reservoir, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, not broken, no leaks, no missing hardware. Coolant hoses on this side, also properly mounted at both ends, no cuts, no bulges, no leaks. My water pump, belt driven, properly mounted and secured, not cracked or broken, and no leaks. Again, the belt is properly mounted, not worn or frayed, and no more than 3/4 of an inch of play on the belt. Sorry. Oil fill cap, properly mounted, not cracked or leaking. The cap is on tight. Oil fill dipstick, gonna take it out, wipe it once, reinsert, bring it out again, check the level, reinsert. My air compressor, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, no missing hardware, no damage, no leaks. My power steering reservoir is also properly mounted and secured, filled to the proper level. Both caps are on tight, not missing any hardware, not cracked, broken, or leaking. Power steering hose, properly mounted at both ends, no cuts, no bulges, no leaks. Steering shaft, properly mounted at the top and the bottom. Steering arm, steering shaft, properly mounted at top and bottom, not cracked, bent, or broken, no missing hardware. No more than 2 inches of free play or it will put my truck out of service. Must go hands-on with that, okay? Steering gearbox, properly mounted and secured, no missing any hardware, no cracks, no damage, no leaks. That takes me to my pitman arm, drag link, steering knuckle, and my tie rod. are all properly mounted and secured with 3 castle nuts and cotter keys. 1, 2, and 3. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, not missing. Shock absorber. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, no damage, no leaks. My front and rear spring mounts and my leaf spring. Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, no missing hardware. 25% or more missing, cracked, or broken on my leaf springs will put my truck out of service. Now I'm going to work my way out to the air brake hoses. They're properly mounted at both ends and secure. They're not cracked, bulging, or leaking. My air chamber, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or leaking. The O-ring or C-clamp and bolt are properly mounted and secured. The push rod and slack adjuster, properly mounted and secured with a clevis pin and cotter pin, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. 1 inch or more of free play on the push rod will put my truck out of service. I'm going to come out here. My brake drum, liner, and shoe. No excessive wear, not cracked or broken. 1/4 inch or less of liner will put my truck out of service. The liner is this big thick piece right here. Okay, 1/4 inch or less of liner will put my truck out of service. My outer rim, properly mounted and secured, not bent, cracked, or broken, no illegal welds. My steer tire, evenly worn, 4/32 of tread or less will put my truck out of service. The sidewalls, no cuts, no bulges, no leaks. I will also measure the tire pressure with an air pressure gauge of at least 100 psi. Check that through my valve stem. Talked about the rim already. Lug nuts, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. None are missing, none are loose. Signs of being loose would be running rust or shiny threads. Wheel seal, properly mounted and secured, no missing any hardware. Cap is on tight. It has a cap. Okay? And no leaks, no damage, no leaks. Another turn signal, 4-way flasher, and marker light, properly mounted and secured, not cracked or broken, proper color. Door mirror, give it a tug. Properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. The mirrors are clean and clear, not cracked or broken, no illegal stickers. The door opens and closes and latches properly. My door seals, or weather seal, whatever you want to call it, properly mounted and secured, not worn or torn. My door hinges, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, no missing hardware. My grab bar, properly mounted and secured, not bent or broken, able to support the weight of the driver. Also, my driver's door steps, properly mounted and secured, not bent or broken, no debris, able to support the weight of the driver. Okay? My minimum 10 BC fire extinguisher, properly mounted and secured, properly charged. I know this because the needle is in the green. Above my driver's seat is my spare fuses. And you're going to talk about this in your NCAD too, okay? So over top of my driver's seat is my spare fuses. In this side compartment right here, I have my 3 reflective triangles in this box right here. You don't have to open it, just show them. Okay, but they're right here in this box. My DEF tank and my fuel tank, properly mounted and secured with bands and straps, not cracked, not broken, not leaking, and the caps are on tight. You can combine those together. The back of my tractor. My DOT reflectors are properly mounted, not cracked or broken, and they are the proper color. My air lines and electrical lines are properly mounted from the tractor to the trailer. My emergency and service lines, air lines, properly mounted with glad hands. And the rubber seals are in place. You do not have to take it off and show them. Rubber seals in place and they're not leaking. The electrical line is properly connected and locked to the trailer with the pigtail. It's not worn, cracked, or frayed. The air lines are not cut, no bulges, no leaks, and they're not touching the catwalk. Catwalk and steps, properly mounted and secured, not broken, not damaged, free of debris, able to support the weight of the driver. In here is my drive shaft. It's properly mounted and secured at each end. It's not bent, broken, no illegal welds, no missing hardware. Tractor frame, properly mounted and secured, no illegal welds, no illegal holes, not bent or broken. Okay. Then we're going to talk about the trailer header board or bulkhead. You can call it either one, header board or bulkhead. Properly mounted, no missing rivets, no missing panels, no holes, no damage, able to support the weight of the load. Okay. My trailer frame runs the whole length of the trailer, properly mounted and secured, no illegal welds, not bent, broken, or damaged. It also has my DOT reflective tape. It's probably mounted at least 50% of the trailer, not worn or torn, and it's clean and clear. My inspection sticker is properly mounted and up to date. Pretty easy on that. All right. Then we're going to go under the trailer. My trailer mounting bracket and bolts are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, bent, or broken. None of the bolts are missing. None of them are loose. Signs of loose would be either running rust or shiny threads. The sliding tandem locking pins are in the locked position. My fifth wheel platform is properly mounted and secured, not bent, cracked, or broken. No illegal welds. My fifth wheel release arm is in the locked position. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. My fifth wheel plate is properly mounted and secured. No missing hardware, not cracked, bent, or broken. No space between the fifth wheel and the trailer apron, and it is properly greased. If you want to talk about it here, the trailer apron is properly mounted to the trailer. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. No illegal welds. Okay. So far, so good. While we're here, my front leaf spring mount and leaf spring, properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware, not cracked, bent, or broken. 25% or more missing, cracked, or broken on the leaf spring will put my truck out of service. My air brake chamber, properly mounted and secured. Lock ring and bolt are in place. not cracked, broken, or damaged. No leaks of air. My air brake hoses are properly mounted at each end. They're not cut, bulging, or frayed, and no leaks. Now we have to come to the back of the axle. So we're going to start in the middle. My fifth wheel locking jaw is properly locked around the kingpin shank. The kingpin is also properly mounted to the trailer apron, not cracked, bent, or broken. My torque bar, this bar right here, properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware, not cracked, not bent or broken. I'm going to come out. My reflectors, reverse light, turn signals, four-way flashers, marker lights and brake lights, properly mounted and secured, clean, clear, proper color, and not broken. My airbags are properly inflated and mounted, top and bottom, not missing any hardware, fully inflated, no cuts, no bulges, no leaks. Right here is my shock absorber. It's properly mounted at the top and the bottom, not broken, not damaged, not leaking. And right in front of that is my slack adjuster and push rod, properly mounted and secured with a clevis pin and cotter key in place. 1 inch or more of the push rod will put my truck out of service. And just like on the steer axle, my brake drum, liner, and shoe, properly mounted, not cracked or excessively worn. 1/4 inch or less of liner will put my truck out of service. My U-bolts, I did not call them on the steer axle. I will go back to them. My U-bolts, properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware, not cracked, bent, or broken. While I'm under here, the bottom of my trailer, all of the cross members are in place. They're not cracked, bent, or broken, not missing any hardware, able to support the weight of the load. My inner and outer tire, evenly worn. 2 seconds of or less of tread will put my truck out of service. The sidewalls are not cut, bulging, or leaking. The tires are not touching. The rims are properly butted together. Tire pressure, at least 100 PSI. I will check that through the valve stem with a tire pressure gauge. Right there. Okay. My inner and outer rims, properly mounted and secured. No illegal welds, not bent or broken or cracked. Axle seal, properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. No damage and not leaking. Lug nuts, properly mounted and secured, not missing any, not cracked, broken, or damaged. No signs of looseness, which would be shiny threads or running rust, and none are missing. Mud flap, properly mounted and secured, not cut or torn, not touching the ground, not missing any hardware. The DOT reflective tape, properly mounted, clean and clear. Okay, and not worn. My landing gear, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken, no illegal welds, no missing hardware. The landing gear handle is in the stored position. The landing gear feet are fully raised, and there's adequate space between the landing gear and the tractor frame to make turns. Okay? On the side of the trailer, also, on the front top corners of the trailer, there are clearance lights that are clean, clear, proper color, not broken. Okay? There's one on the side and one on the front corner. On the side of the trailer, have a turn signal, four-way flasher, and marker light. Clean, clear, proper color, and not broken.
Do we have to mention anything about the skirt?
Nope, don't have to talk about the skirt. Airlines, properly mounted at each end. No cuts, no bulges, no leaks, and they're at least 18 inches off the ground. My sliding tandem release mechanism is properly mounted and secured, not cracked or bent or broken. It is air, there are no leaks. My sliding tandem locking pins are in the locked position, and the sliding tandem rail is in overall good condition, not bent, cracked, or damaged. Okay, this trailer, since it has a rigid suspension, I'll talk about that to the inside. I'm gonna start with my tires. My inner and outer tires, again, evenly worn. Tread depth of 2/32 of an inch or less will put my truck out of service. Sidewalls, inner and outer. No cuts, no bulges, no leaks. They're inflated to at least 100 PSI, which I will check with a tire pressure gauge on the valve stem. The rims, inner and outer, the inside tire and the outer, not cracked or broken. No illegal welds. Lug nuts, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. None are missing. All of them are tight. Any signs of looseness, running rust, or shiny threads. Hub seal, properly mounted and secured. No missing hardware, not cracked or broken, no leaks. The cap is on tight. More mud flaps, properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware. No cuts, no tears, not touching the ground. My rigid suspension does not have springs. Has a shock absorber, properly mounted and secured, not missing any hardware, not bent, broken, or leaking. Airbags, no cuts, no bulges, no leaks. Properly inflated, properly mounted and secured at the top and the bottom. My rigid suspension mount, properly mounted and secured, not bent, cracked, or broken, no illegal welds. My air hoses, properly mounted and secured at each end, no cuts, no bulges, no leaks. They lead to my air chambers that are properly mounted and secured. O-ring and clamp are in place. Lock ring and bolt are in place. Not cracked, damaged, or leaking. The push rod and the slack adjuster are properly mounted and secured with clevis pins and cotter keys. Not cracked, bent, or broken. No missing any hardware. 1 inch or more of free play on the push rod will put my truck out of service. My brake drum liner and shoe. These have a dust cover, so you look through the little slot in there, right there. Brake drum liner and shoe are properly mounted and secured, not excessively worn. 1/4 inch or less of liner will put my truck out of service. On the edge of the trailer, my ABS light and my marker light are properly mounted and secured, not cracked or broken. They are the proper color. At the rear of the trailer, starting at the top, I have clearance lights, ID lights, turn signals and four-way flashers and marker lights and brake lights. And my license plate light are all clean, clear, proper color, not broken. The door reflective tape at the top, my DOT reflective tape on my bumper, properly mounted, clean and clear, at least 50% of the bumper. My door itself, not missing any panels, Not missing any hardware. Opens and closes properly, overall good condition. The door cables are not worn or frayed. My DOT bumper, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. No illegal welds. And at this time,
What about the hinges? Do we have to mention the
don't
hinges?
have to mention the hinges.
The latch?
The latch is in the lock position, yes. Sorry, thank you. Good catch. On this side of the truck, I would inspect everything the same as I did on that side. And then if there's any differences, you bring it up.